You know that feeling, right? You're stuck in traffic, already late, or maybe someone doesn't text you back, and you just feel that irritation building up? Well, that frustration we all feel when things just don't go our way is universal. But here's a thought. What if a huge chunk of that stress comes from a simple, totally fixable habit in our own thinking? That's what we're going to dig into today, the secret power of our own internal demands. So let me ask you this, straight up. Just for a second, listen to the way you talk to yourself in your own head. Is it full of words like, I must, I should, I have to? Because if it is, you might be using a thought pattern that's actively creating anxiety and honestly kind of sabotaging your own happiness without you even realizing it. So there was this brilliant psychologist, Dr. Albert Ellis, a real pioneer of cognitive behavioral therapy. And he had a pretty memorable name for this habit. He called it mustardation. I know, it's a quirky word, but it's perfect, right? It just perfectly captures this rigid, inflexible demand thinking that can secretly run and often ruin our entire day. Okay, so where does this musty thinking actually pop up? Well, it turns out it's not random at all. These unrealistic demands we make, they pretty much always target three specific areas of our lives: ourselves, other people, and, well, the world itself. Yep, 3. That's the magic number. So let's break them down, starting with the first one, which is maybe the most damaging of them all. First, we aim those demands right at ourselves. It's that little voice inside that says, I must be perfect. I must succeed at this. But here's the thing. Life is messy. We're all human. So the second we fall short, which, let's be honest, is going to happen, this way of thinking immediately labels the situation as awful, unbearable, and the only result is this crushing mountain of pressure that we put on ourselves. And then, of course, we turn these demands on everyone else. You must be considerate. You must see things my way. But people are going to do what they're going to do, right? So when they act according to their own rules, not ours, our internal demand handbook slaps them with the awful label. And that just fuels anger, resentment, and a whole lot of broken communication. And the third target? The world. Life itself. The train must be on time. Life must be fair. This kind of rigid expectation puts us in a constant fight with reality. And you know what? That's a fight we are guaranteed to lose every single time. Because life is random, it's unpredictable, and it almost never goes exactly according to our plan. So when you boil it all down, all 3 of these demands are really just saying one thing. I want this, therefore I must have it. It's basically toddler logic, isn't it? But so many of us carry it right into our adult lives. And living by that rule doesn't make you strong. It just guarantees you're going to be unhappy and disappointed. Okay, so if that's the problem, what on earth is the solution? Well, this is where it gets really powerful. And it's simpler than you think. We don't have to throw our standards out the window. All we need to do is make one profound little shift in our mindset, consciously turning our demands into preferences. I mean, just think about the difference in those words. A demand is rigid. It's brittle. Under pressure, it breaks. But a preference is flexible. It bends. A preference says, yeah, I really want this, without screaming that the universe owes it to you. It's the simple shift from, this must happen, to, I'd really prefer it if this happened. One leads to stress, the other leads to calm. And this whole approach is built on something Ellis called unconditional acceptance. Now, that doesn't mean you have to like everything or approve of bad behavior. Not at all. It just means accepting reality for what it is. You're a fallible human. Other people are fallible humans, and life is messy and unpredictable. It's really about aspiring to a much, much calmer way of being. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it in the middle of a stressful day? Let's get practical. Let's look at the actual prescription for how to do this. You can turn this into a daily practice, and it's way easier than you might think. It's basically a 4-step process for rewiring your brain. First, you just have to notice it. Catch yourself in the act of saying must or should. Step 2, challenge it. Is this really an absolute law of the universe? No? Okay. Step 3, consciously replace that rigid demand with a flexible preference. And finally, step 4, and this is the most important one, repeat. You do this enough, and that new way of thinking starts to become automatic. So, what does this look like in action? Instead of that harsh internal demand, you reframe it. It becomes, I would prefer to do well, of course. But you know what? I'm a fallible human, and I can accept myself even if I don't get it perfect. Can you feel that? The pressure just vanishes. So what about other people? The old way, you must treat me well, is just a recipe for endless conflict. The new way sounds more like this. I'd really, really prefer if you were considerate, but I accept that I can't control you. That simple reframe gives you all your power back. Suddenly, your peace of mind isn't a hostage to somebody else's behavior. And this works for life itself. Instead of demanding that things be easy, try this on for size. I'd prefer if things went smoothly, but I accept that life is unpredictable. It might get uncomfortable, but I can stand it. And that last part is so important. You can stand it. The story you tell yourself that you can't stand it is the real trap. That's what makes discomfort feel like a catastrophe. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? This isn't some obscure, weird psychological quirk. These musty beliefs are incredibly common. And learning how to spot them and change them is honestly one of the most powerful things you can do for your own mental well-being. In fact, Dr. Ellis originally laid out what he called 12 irrational beliefs, and you can see a few of them right here. Just listen to how familiar these sound. I must have everyone's approval. I must be perfect and never make mistakes. Just recognizing these demanding lies in your own thought patterns is the first giant step to taking your power away. So, here's your mission if you choose to accept it. Become a detective of your own mind. Hunt down those inflexible musts and shoulds, challenge them, and then consciously, deliberately swap them for flexible preferences. Aspire to acceptance. This isn't just a fun mind game. It's a direct path to feeling calmer, happier, and way more in control of your own emotional life. So I'm gonna leave you with this question. Don't just let this be interesting information that you forget about in 5 minutes. Make it a real change. What is the one must that you're gonna catch and reframe into a preference today? Just one. Start there, start small, and just see how much better you feel.